You want to give him a little walk?
Hey, Meg, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
As a buyer, a lot of times buyers have in their head what kind of horse they're looking for.
Right.
Beyond colts or fillies, they want or a grass horse, or they want a horse that can run on dirt, or maybe polytrack.
Sure.
A horse that can sprint or that can go distance.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe this Empire Maker colt?
Well, I think that this horse is probably right in the middle, which would be a router, maybe a mile to a mile and a quarter. I think he could do a classic distance. But, you know, you're looking at his page, you're seeing that there's a lot of speed in his family. Empire Makers have run a little bit longer, you know, and have the stamina to go on. So you first look at that part, and then physically, I think he's got a lot of power in his hind end. He's not, it's kind of like the Goldilocks story, you know, he's not too big, he's not too small, he's just right. It's, he just has everything that you're trying to look for in a horse. So I do think he'd be somewhere in the middle, but he would definitely be a candidate for those people looking for that first Saturday in May. You know, like you said, that's what we're all.
Oh, he's going to win the Derby? This is easy. Awesome. All right, we can all go home now. I'll take him. That's it.
Exactly. Exactly. Where's Wayne? Come on.
See how easy that is? It's awesome.
Yeah. So, you know, besides him just standing here, I'm not sure, maybe if I step back here, you guys can see him walk around a little bit, and you'll be able to see what we look for in a stride. Again, I'm very impressed at his attitude and how he's taking this, but I'm not sure how much you all can see because it's a small area, but the horse has a great overstep. So you want to look at him from behind. This is an indication of how his gallop stride will be because the walk is a parallel gait to a gallop. You know, we can't tell, we don't win races at a trot. So walking, you can see that his hind leg oversteps his front leg when he is walking from the side. So when you see people looking at horses from the side, that's what they're looking at. They're looking to see, you know, if that hind foot print supersedes the front print. And usually, you know, it can be 6 to 8 inches in a horse. So you're looking for a horse to be kind of like an accordion so that he moves muscularly up and back. You know, you're looking for a cat-like ability, just a real athlete. You know, you all have seen athletes, you know, sometimes they pick tennis players at 13 years of age or basketball players, you know, football players, that stuff that gets younger and younger and younger. So that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to determine how athletic this horse is going to be and also soundness. So some of the things you look for in soundness, and by soundness I mean how they're going to hold up to the stresses of training. So when this horse is galloping, or any horse is galloping, there will be a time in his stride when all the weight of his body plus the torque of him going 30 miles an hour is going to be held on a piece of equipment that looks like my finger. So a horse's leg is very much like a human finger with the joints in it. So it'd be like my galloping with, you know, 20,000 pounds of torque on this tip of my finger, okay? So all his other feet are going to be off the ground, and he's going to be galloping like this. And we want to make sure he has the strongest support system, you know, available when we choose our yearling. So you're looking at the angulation. The major, you want to stop him a second? The major part of support right here, you've heard about bowed tendons maybe, or suspensory, sesamoids, things like that. That is all right in this area here. So that is the horse's shock absorber. When he presses down on that pastern, that is your shock absorber. So, you know, there's certain things conformationally that you want to look for, hoping that he will stay sound. And this horse is a very good example. He's got great shocks. So you also want to, could you bring him around to the front, Wendell? Just so he's facing out. I'm not sure how much you all can see of this, but when people look at horses coming at them, you know, from the front, you're looking at his front limb conformation. So dropping a line from the top of his chest all the way down again through his ankle, through his knee and through his ankle. You want those lines to be fairly close to parallel. Sometimes, you know, horses are born through genetic things and environmental things like too much growth, and their knees will come offline a little bit, their ankles will come offline a little bit. They don't have to be perfect, but they need to be serviceable, and they need to be kind of move through them well. So that's what we're looking at when we're looking at them coming from us. Could you turn him around, Wendell, so that he's pointing toward the other way? And this is my favorite part of a horse. Uh, you've heard the term that describes this, but this is where the horse's power comes from. So what you want from the back, you want the horse to be wide. You want his hips to be wide. You want him to have plenty of muscle. And you want everything to be even. He's got a great big jaw, which also can, it's a masculine thing, but people look for that in a head. Big jaw, big eye. Look at him. What is he looking at up there? So anyway, does anybody have any questions about this animal or how we, yes? How many hands high? Well, the top of my head is about 16.2 right now with these feet on. So I'd say he's about 15.2 right now, which is plenty big. Yeah, he's just a yearling, so he'll do a lot more growing by the time he's mature. And you can tell that sometimes. That's one thing I didn't talk about. You can tell when a horse, his hip is higher than his shoulder right now. So that's an indication that he's going to grow a little bit taller as well, because that will eventually balance out. That can also indicate what kind of racehorse, whether he might go short or go long. A horse that might specialize in sprints would be more designed like a race car. So he might have his hip even further up in the air and have a considerably longer hip but a shorter back. And then a horse that's going to go long might be more long looking and more tubular. Kind of the difference between looking at runners versus bodybuilders. Oh, yes, in case you all didn't hear that, the question was how much of a decision is made, and I'm assuming that means in picking a sale or in valuing the horse, in picking the sale for the horse. Well, this process starts really early. I start looking at, what I spend most of my time doing is looking at horses through the year. I look at them from the time they're foaled on farms. I go through them. Horses change a lot like kids. So the first part of it, as you said, is the paper. So you're looking at the pedigree. This horse, is by a good sire and had an expensive stud fee in him. So, you're hoping he's going to be a select animal. And his physical matches. So I'd say it probably is, just guessing, 50-50 at this point. Also, the market goes through different stages where physical horses and less pedigree is in fashion. You may have noticed, you guys probably remember Real Quiet. Real Quiet was a good horse, obviously, for Bob Baffert. And Bob Baffert, through his experience, really started a new kind of fashion in the game where he picked, he'd just sit in the back ring of the yearling sale, and he'd watch physicals come in, and he really wouldn't pay attention to what they were by. And so that would be, the phenotype or the physical. And he really had a lot of success doing that.